I'm like, I am Bobby Paul. I'm the artistic director. I don't know what medium I'm in anymore. I'm the executive director of Georgia Women's Action for New Directions. I'm thrilled that you're all here. We have a full house. Please come in. Hey, Ella Ruth. Granny for Peace went to jail. We went to jail together. There are plenty of people here that, you know, this house is full of stellar activists in the progressive community. I will let you know Dr. Lowry cannot be with us again tonight. His wife, Mrs. Lowry, is ill, and he felt he couldn't leave her side. And that's a good thing to do, especially around her birthday and Valentine's Day. So we shall miss him. But we have an evening that's fabulous. And I did want to recognize some of our special legislators in the audience. A special woman to Wand, Senator Nan Grogan-Orrock. Nan, stand up. My senator. And my representative was supposed to be here. Is Pat Gardner here in the house? Is she here? Oh, I'm sorry. Her aide, Pat and Jerry Gardner, were going to be here tonight. We have special members of our advisory board here. The Honorable Betty Ann Hart, right here. Stand up. From Waynesboro, Georgia, where we're embattled over nuclear reactors. And also on our advisory board, Berta Laney, right here. Former First Lady of Emory. Berta, stand up, say hi. Am I missing other advisory board members here tonight? They're all in your program. I want to do a special shout out. Our mission, as you know, is to empower women to act politically, reduce militarism and violence, and redirect excessive military spending, which seems to be all the new rage these days, towards unmet human and environmental needs. Our founding... It works. We concentrate in 3 areas: peace and action. Meet us on Fridays at noon at 14th and Peachtree. Thank you all, every one of you who wrote a letter to Johnny Isakson and Senator Saxby Chambliss for the START Treaty. Let's hear it. It passed. Thank you so much. Environmental justice, that's why we work so much on stopping the expansion of nuclear power, because it's on the backs of people downwind and downstream who can ill afford it. We watchdog Savannah Riverside. And our last emphasis, of course, is the political empowerment of women, speaking up, speaking out. But we're very proud that we have a lot of men members who really dig our mission. So here's to you all. And some of our speakers tonight, we hope, will be like that. I want to say one thanks especially to our staff, Amanda Hill-Atkinson, manager, Nicole Arnault, and I knew they wouldn't be in here because they're all working out there, and Courtney Hansen, who you all made your reservations with, so thank you. And now I want to bring our new board chair. Krista Brewer, after 5 or 6 years, has moved on to the advisory board along with Berta and Betty Ann. And our new board chair, I'd like to welcome to the stage, Bernita Smith. Woo!
For coming out tonight and supporting Wand as you usually do. I'd like to thank Jay and Nina Shea for being here, and Tom for his musical selections. Yay. And I also like to thank our wonderful 2011 board. Can you please stand? Some of them out there. That's you, Jay. We're really excited this year about our groundbreaking activism work that we're going to continue to do, starting from last year and working on the START Treaty, to being one of the very few groups that had the opportunity to speak before the President's Nuclear Blue Ribbon Commission. It was a huge thing for us to have that access and give the voice of Georgia so the President can take it back. This year we're doing some really great things, including we just received the New World Foundation grant, which will allow Georgia Wand to go across the state and engage women between 18 and 30-year-olds to become activists, to follow in your great footsteps. And as part of your contributions tonight, it's going to also help our ongoing campaign called the DC Days, where we take young women to DC to learn how to lobby for Congress for the issues that we fight for every day. So give yourselves a hand for helping us out. So one of our DC alums and also one of our newly board members, Kim Karras, will come and speak. But again, thank you very much for everything that you do for Juan. And to take a page from the president, Juan does big things.
All right.
Hello, and thank you for coming and for having me. What Bernita didn't say was that I've had a long history with Juan. I started out as an intern in college, and I had no idea about the organization except that it was a women's organization, and that drew me in. And from there, from being an intern, I became staff. I was a program coordinator for a year, and then now I'm on the board of directors. And I'll never forget the first time that I started as a college intern, and Bobby came up to me within the first couple of weeks and said, "You've got to come to DC Days." And I said, "Okay," and she said, "You'll learn I knew nothing about nuclear weapons, nothing. And I honestly didn't know anything about lobbying either. And she said, "If you come to DC Days with us, you will know everything you need to know about nukes, and you'll know how to lobby." And I said, "Okay." So I went, and as a young activist, it really was a very life-changing experience. DC Days is organized by a group called Alliance for Nuclear Accountability, and they're kind of an umbrella organization for other organizations around the country that are working for nuclear non-proliferation. And sometimes in Georgia and Atlanta, we think we're the only ones working on these issues, but there are actually other organizations across the country working on these issues. It's a time to come together at DC Days. You learn the issues, you learn how to lobby. It's very well organized, and thank you again. I know Bernita thanks you, but thank you for donating to that, because it's going to send a lot of young people like me back in the day to this event, and you never know, they might be here one day. So again, it's really, really exciting to be here. One of the reasons that I love Juan so much is because they do things like the real State of the Union. They see the connections between all of the issues. And I don't know if they've mentioned yet, but 9 years ago today, in this very place, February 11, 2003, was the first real State of the Union. And during that time, a lot of the progressive community in Atlanta were in an outrage about the media not bringing attention to Bush's plan to go to war on Iraq. And so Georgia Juan, but the one person that spoke out about this was Mr. J. Bookman and the AJC. And he wrote that article, Bush's Real Goal in Iraq, which is out there, and I don't know if you haven't read it, you must. We all know now what happened, but it took the public, it took the media a long time to get to the realization to start talking about this. And Jay was the first one to do it, to really expose the neoconservative plan to take over Iraq. And the truth is, he was the first one to do this, and he was the only one at the time really speaking the truth. And that is why Georgia Juan said, "Hey, would you speak to us and engage the public about what you're talking about?" And he did 9 years ago, and he's been doing it every year from then on. And there's a reason why we keep Jay Bookman around and doing this. He didn't stop with just that article. He continues to expose the truth.
That's right.
He keeps writing what we need to hear. He has a very keen ability, a very unique ability to bring out about policy and politics what the public needs to hear. And let me tell you a little bit about him. Obviously, we all know that he's a columnist, but he's also a blogger at Atlanta Journal-Constitution. He specializes in foreign relations, environmental, and technology-related issues in state and local politics. He's won many awards, and I fear to list them all because there's so many, but I'll name a couple. There's 2 for outstanding editorial writing, including the National Headliner Award and the Scripps Howard National Journalism Award. He is especially noted for his environmental writing, and he's been recognized with the Aldo Leopold Award, granted by the Wilderness Society, and the American Conservation Award by the National Wildlife Federation. And I can continue to go on, but I think it's in your program. He's also the author of Caught in the Current, which, if you stay after this event, there'll be a few books, and he may be able to sign some if you buys them. He was a graduate of Penn State with a degrees in history and journalism. He lives in Atlanta since 1990, and he's married with 2 daughters. So we are honored to have him, and we look forward to what he writes every day, but more importantly, we look forward to what he says every year in response to the State of the Union. And this year's theme is Unveiled, the Great Liberal Conspiracy to Destroy America. So please give a round of applause to Jay Bookman.
9 years. I'm sure my hair was not quite this gray 9 years ago. All of you look exactly the same, however. Thank you, Bobby and Kim and everybody. Bobby was mentioning the events of this week, culminating in today with Hosni Mubarak stepping down in Egypt. And this week, as I've been trying to put my thoughts together in preparation for this, that has been the background noise, so to speak. I couldn't turn television off. You had to listen to it and watch it. And just the emotions that was really quite something to see and to hear the passion of some of those folks. I'm sorry Dr. Lowry couldn't be with us here tonight, because several times I thought about him and his experience. 18 days ago, when the Egyptian people occupied the square, and they held it ever since, refusing to surrender it. No matter what happened, they held the square. The police tried tear gas and batons. The government thugs tried camels and horses. I had not seen that done before. And it didn't work. Probably not going to be tried again. But still, they held the square, and it's just stunning, I think, to see people like that, people who are willing to risk death and imprisonment and worse in an effort to gain freedom. I think Dr. Lowry knows something about that, has some personal experience in that regard. Last night I was really struck watching the coverage on CNN. One of the protesters who spoke English came to the microphone after Mubarak had made his speech and sounded like he was going to stay. And the protester was trying to explain the importance of the protester to be nonviolent. And he spoke directly. He said, our role model is Dr. Martin Luther King. So you get that sense of history there, of things being handed down. Those protesters understood the importance of nonviolence. They understood that nonviolence rendered the guns and the tanks of the military useless against them. Silenced the guns. And you know what happened today in Egypt, somewhere down the line, is going to happen again somewhere else. Other people are going to use the same tactics to rise up against repression and authority. And again, there's a long line of this. Mahatma Gandhi provided the inspiration for Dr. King and Dr. Lowry. Dr. King and Dr. Lowry inspired Nelson Mandela in South Africa, and now the revolution in Egypt. In that sense, the eye of history never blinks. The things that we do in our generation, in our own little piece of the world, become inspiration in ways that we cannot anticipate for those who come after us. But I think it's important to remind ourselves that by holding the square, so to speak, the people of Egypt have merely won the opportunity for democracy. They have not won democracy itself. Democracy cannot be won. It is a process. It is a never-ending struggle. It goes on. It's a day-to-day thing. It's not something that you can attain and then it's over and you have it. It's something you have to defend every day. Tonight, I'm sure the people of Egypt are united in their joy at what they've accomplished. Tomorrow morning they have to get up. They have to figure out how to share the power they've attained. They have to figure out how to disagree with each other while still acknowledging each other as Egyptians, as legitimate and well-intentioned human beings. It's a trick that we Americans haven't quite mastered yet after 200 years. We haven't gotten it right, and we probably never will, because that's just how human beings